On this episode of Lateral G's,
we're modifying my 2022 Subaru BRZ.
Our friend Marc has owned several BRZs in the past, and I've been able to help him work on all of them. First he had a black 2014, and then a white 2017, and now his latest 2022 is also white. Whenever he first brought the car over, it had just over 800 miles on it, and I'm really excited to work on this brand new car.
Hey guys, Marc here. So the first thing we're doing is installing this K&N Performance air filter. It's a very easy installation. It just drops in and replaces the OEM filter. It's affordable. It probably doesn't give you too much of a performance boost, but it definitely gives you a placebo effect, so I figured since it was easy and cheap, it might be worth it. Nice. So up next we have these Eibach wheel spacers. We have 25 millimeters for the rear and 10 millimeters for the front. I got these to give the car a little bit of a better stance without having to upgrade the wheels or the suspension, which are things I plan on doing in the future, but for now this was an affordable option. Obviously first we're going to go ahead and raise the car up so we can get the wheel off. Because we went with 10 millimeters for the front, it is a little bit more involved than the rear ones are going to be. We are going to have to remove the rotor and the calipers so that we can get behind there and take off the existing wheel studs and replace them with some that are 10 millimeters longer to make room for the new spacers. And here we're going to go ahead and put in the new ones. So this is something that I had never seen before, but what we're doing here is using some washers so that we can basically suck the new studs in to ensure that they fit snugly. Finally, it's time to put the rotor back on. And surprisingly, this is one of the hardest parts of the installation, getting these calipers back on. For some reason, it's really hard to line up the holes with the bolts, but we eventually got it done. Now it's time to put the new spacers on. And of course you'll want to torque the nuts to whatever the factory specification is, but for the front, we're going to want to wait till we drop the car back to the floor. Now it's time to remove the rear wheels. You can probably tell that I don't work on cars very much myself. Luckily, the 25mm spacers are a lot easier to install because it doesn't require removing the stock studs. As you can see, they just bolt right on, and the spacers that I bought include their own nuts. Here's a look at how the car sits before the spacers were installed. And here you can see that the new spacers made it a lot more flush, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better. And finally, for today's video, we have the Catback exhaust that we're installing. This is the MXP SP with titanium tips. Pretty much any Catback system that was built for the old generations will fit the new BRZ and GR86. I went with this one because I was able to find it pretty cheap, and it's a good temporary solution. But of course, in the future I do plan on getting headers and an entirely new system once they have something built specifically for this generation with the new engine. This pretty much speaks for itself, but first we're going to remove all the bolts that are holding the pieces of the exhaust together. This part is a little bit more difficult. What we're trying to do is remove the exhaust from the hangers that keep it in place and keep it from rattling against the car. And now here we are, bolting on the new exhaust. And here's a look at the full system after being installed. The OEM tips that come with the 2022 BRZ are pretty sunken in. I thought it was pretty ugly, so these tips are definitely a huge improvement over the OEM fitment. Here's a before and after comparison of the OEM Catback versus the new MXP SP exhaust that we installed. And just for fun, we added in some drive-by shots of the new exhaust.
That's all we had time for today, but be on the lookout for more videos on this car in the future. Until next time, thanks for watching.